say something about Long Island. What do you think about? You think about money? You think about Pharaoh? You think about the #1 wrestling show in Long Island? That's what Tommy Wildfire Rich thinks about. So, ladies and gentlemen, as a good friend of mine on Georgia Championship Wrestling said to me one time, he said, ladies and gentlemen, don't miss it. Be there.
Yeah, baby. All right, welcome to Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast out of Indie Music TV here in Ronkonkoma, Long Island. At the board, the main man, the Superman, Matty Ice. Matty, how are you, bud?
I'm doing amazing. How
Yeah,
you doing?
I feel like I haven't seen you in a long time, my friend.
Oh, yeah.
It was good to see your face.
And it's good to see yours as always.
And
We
to
got
the
a big weekend ahead. So.
oh well, yeah,
Ooh.
and we'll get to that in a minute. To the right is the star of the show, Mr. Jimmy Farrow. Jimmy, how are you, bud?
Good morning. I'm all right. Hanging in. What's going on?
I feel like we've been out of studio for a while, but we were just here Thursday, right?
Maybe it's because we got thrown off with February, always like not being allowed to have the schedule be normal. So maybe we're just trying to get back into the flow, maybe? February was a never-ending shoveling
Well,
job. So.
talk about getting into the flow. We got a
What?
big weekend ahead. We'll cover that later.
Okay.
On Wednesday evening, news broke that veteran promoter Jim Crockett Jr. had passed away at the age of 76. The legendary promoter who ran Jim Crockett Promotions, started by his father, Crockett Sr., was one of the biggest rivals of the WWE chairman, Mr. Vincent Kennedy McMahon, our hero.
Yeah, well, yeah, sure.
During the territorial days of the
that's
late 1970s and 80s, Jim Crockett served as 3 terms as a president of the National Wrestling Alliance between 1980 to 1991, and Jim Crockett Promotions eventually cemented its status as part of the NWA. Jimmy?
Well, to really hammer home just what the Crockett family meant to professional wrestling in this country, it goes back to, as you mentioned, Crockett Sr., who started in 1933. So if you actually look at the Crockett Sr. to Jr. transfer of power, you're talking about one family that ran a nice chunk of the southern states for over 50 years. Wow. Jim Crockett was basically to the NWA, especially in our childhood, what Vince was to the WWF, and before Turner, obviously put his thumbprints on WCW. Jim Crockett was pretty awesome. It's a shame we were never able to get him on the show. I would have loved to have had a chance to talk to him, but I don't even know how healthy he was over the last few years, to be very honest. Obviously not too good.
Well, he kind of gets a bad rap as the guy that couldn't control his good fortune in the beginning, and let it all fall apart on him. Like, when you see these documentaries or these docudramas about the WCW, NWA, that's all they ever say is Crockett didn't know how to control it. He couldn't control his spending.
Well, I think what wound up in the end leading to Crockett, signing over to Ted Turner, honestly, I think Jim Crockett was pretty happy with where he was his whole life. The business got bigger than I really think Jim Crockett ever thought it would or really wanted to get involved with. So he was almost reluctantly going with the signs of the times. As it's been proven, it didn't last long for him, and he turned it over to Ted Turner and Company. I think that he would have been happy running his territories. You do realize what he meant to the Carolinas, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, he would have been happy doing that the rest of his life. He was making great money at it. Oddly enough, the one who would have been better equipped to go head-to-head with Vince McMahon if it had not been Turner, stay with me on this, was Bill Watts. But Bill Watts didn't have one thing that Crockett had, an awesome office and staff. Crockett had his stuff together. You know business. Crockett was more business. Did you know that Bill Watts' office was his house? So that was Watts actually knew how to put on a great show. And I used to tell you when I watch the old Mid-South
Do
programs,
you think
they're
Crockett?
excellent.
Do you think
But he-
Crockett had more respect from the boys than Watts did? I know the boys
That's
worked
possible.
under fear under Watts.
I would think
right?
that's possible. Sure. I don't know if that's truth or not, but I never heard too many horror stories about Crockett, right?
Yeah.
I didn't hear wrestlers going, "Oh, he's this or that." I don't recall. Or maybe I'm sure there's a few here and there. No one's perfect.
What did Crockett mean to you?
He was the face of
You're a
the
WWE guy, right? But what did he mean
I didn't look
to
at him
Jimmy
like the
Farrow?
I didn't look at him like the enemy. And you know what? When he was on TV, he was just there. It wasn't like he had a Vince McMahon personality. Vince McMahon always had personality.
I always thought Crockett was. Now his
fine
brother.
for what he
His brother was it David Crockett, right?
Yeah.
He was a pretty decent announcer.
There was a little more personality
Yeah.
there,
But Jim always seemed like this very
authoritative, if
Yes.
you will, or if that's the right word to say. Who else was like that? Who was the WWE guy that was always posing as the president back in the day? He would come in and be like,
shit.
I can't remember
Oh
his
my
name
God! I
right
can't
now."
believe I'm
I know,
brain locked. The
but-
guy from Canada, man.
Right, he used to come in and they'd be like, the
the fans
president,
could tell us,
somebody out there
please,
helped
this is
to bring dead,
embarrassing.
WWF
I'm embarrassed
guys.
now.
That
I
was
can't
great when he
believe.
would come in.
All right, well, we can't. Anyone knows who the president of WWE was during the
WWF days.
WrestleMania 3, 4, 5, and 6.
And even
please chime
before
in.
that,
Jack Tunney.
Thank you. I kept thinking Gene Tunney, but isn't that a
No,
boxer?
no,
or
well,
something?
yeah, well,
Jack
it's tough
Tunney.
stuff.
Way to go, Mike. Well, at least I remembered it.
Well, I got to tell you,
Comparative, though, right? In a way.
for me personally, losing Crockett, it's like I feel like we lost a big part of our childhood, man.
Yeah, well, we did.
And it's getting rougher and rougher, man.
He ran the NWA for those years.
We just keep losing these people. It's
Right.
like I don't even know what it's going to feel like if
Right.
we're lucky enough to be around when Vincent Kennedy McMahon passes away. Or
we better be
or a
lucky
whole-
enough to be around.
Or, you never know. You
That
never
would,
know what
that would
tomorrow
not be
brings.
good. Oh, my God. Vince has got a head start on you and me. Come on. Sorry, Vince.
So last week,
Right.
a lot of chatter on last week's show.
Okay. Lee? I'm getting to it before you read.
You son of a bitch.
Never mind, folks.
Lee Cole
Go on.
was being interviewed. Lee Cole,
That was a great interview.
the brother. Take
really-
over for me on this
That
one.
was a
man.
really great interview. That took 2 parts to do for our reduced, beat you to it, our reduced cable version. There was that much good stuff in there. He was,
Well, I want to know what you felt now. If you got to digest all of it.
well, if I can, something definitely was amiss in them darts tills. Something was wrong.
Right.
Obviously. To what degree? I'm gonna quote Lee. His brother took it to the grave with him, so there's lots of things we're never gonna know. I'm kind of with you on overall that I do believe a lot of people, and Lee did confirm this, a lot of people were there on that watch. They did see what was happening, and they didn't do anything. And then they'd get let go from the company, and then now they've got an issue with what they saw back then. So there was a lot of sour grapes
The
going
Dan
on.
Crusader says last week was an intense
It
show.
was. I agree. Thank you. It was. It was rough.
But did you come out believing Lee?
Again, I believe. I can't say that I 100,000% believe everything anybody says, but I do believe that something went wrong there, and there was. It smelled like a cover-up of some kind.
Well, regardless
come
what
on,
anyone
something-
believes out there, I
something
would
was
say
going on there.
that Lee was,
He's-
seemed like a very good gentleman.
Yeah, no,
and,
he's cool, and he's brave to come out and say this kind
Absolutely.
of stuff,
Takes a lot of guts to say stuff.
Hey, I said it to him on the air. He's got big balls to say what he was saying. If and he obviously believes it's true. So hey, our job was to ask questions, and I thought we did a good job with that. Our job was to drive down the middle of the road and let the man talk.
2 very controversial
You know?
episodes on the last 2 weeks of Monty and the Pharaoh, if I got the timing right, Jimmy.
Yeah,
James Terry
yeah,
and Lee Cole.
yeah.
Very touchy subjects.
Yeah,
A lot
well,
of stuff being said.
you know.
And, matters what side of the fence you're on.
Sure.
It's.
I mean, is it going
was
to stop
difficult.
me from still, admiring aspects of Vince McMahon? No. There's a lot I don't know. I'm not Lee Cole. I'm not like, one of those people who have been on that floor. Like you said, do you realize how, I thought about that. How many wrestlers never even get to the floor I was on when Vince had me up in the office and stuff? I don't know.
Life's tricky, man. Because whatever side of the fence you're on, you see it that way. Most of the time, life is really gray.
Something
It's
in the
not
middle.
black and white, right? It's
Somewhere
gray.
in the middle lies the truth.
You know, so I'm sure that something went
Reason
on.
for that saying.
I'm just not sure what went on.
Right, I'm with you
I
on
will
that.
stand pat in my agreement, though.
Bruno and Superstar. Oh, can we get to Superstar Graham?
Go ahead.
Superstar Graham is the biggest bitter grape dickhead in the world.
Wow.
Come on, Mike, help me out here. Don't leave me alone.
No,
with this
I'm.
I mean, what a fucking jackass he is. I mean, seriously.
Look,
and if you don't give him money, he's going to unfriend you. Ooh.
Again, that's a perfect.
That's an old story, but the guy's
that's
insane.
a perfect example. That guy was a legend in pro wrestling, and his craziness has ruined his status.
It's ridiculous.
Okay, his back and forth with Vince McMahon, like you were saying, right? Vince wants to do a documentary. Hey, I'm a good love Vince McMahon.
Right.
All of a
He's
sudden,
his best friend the next day.
Yeah,
when there's business, when there's money on the table, he takes it.
More importantly, how'd you feel about San Martino? So if anyone doesn't know, we took the clips from the Donahue show and the Larry King show, and you could hear the bitterness of San Martino with Vince McMahon
and Graham. And by the way, can I just say this too for those people who love Superstar Graham?
Go ahead.
So do I. I'm a huge fan of Superstar
Absolutely.
Graham, the wrestler.
The
He was
wrestler.
awesome.
Of course.
I'm just insanely disappointed in his psychoticness.
But it's funny.
And I'm pretty good at understanding psychoticness, folks. Now he's completely out of his mind.
You always call San Martino the Babe Ruth of professional wrestling.
I love Bruno. I'm definitely.
Here's the issue, though, my friend.
It's sour grapes.
It's sour grapes.
It is. Sour grapes.
Angry man.
And here's the thing, though.
God rest your soul.
But let this be but let this be said about both Bruno and Billy Graham, Superstar Graham. Even though it is sour grapes, and you can see it's sour grapes because years later they came back to Vince anyway. So you know at the time that they're going after him, it's because they're mad at him. Mm-hmm. I don't completely disqualify what they had to say. So there could still be a gray area in their bitterness, if you understand what I'm saying. Because in the middle is the truth usually somewhere.
Right.
Sometimes we're just questioning the motive at the given time. You know, Vince was getting the full court press from two guys who were pissed off, had felt left out at the trash after they felt they had given their whole lives to the business, and it's understandable, you know. But when you're going to take the guy down forever, the guy who him and his father, and don't tell me neither one of them came back and had their bread buttered by Junior.
Sure.
They did.
Right.
So it's like father is, come on, man, stop. At some point, settle this stuff privately. You know,
Russell Campbell says he totally agrees with you on the Superstar comments.
Thanks, Russell. I'm exhausted. I feel bad. I don't like saying these things about Superstar Graham.
Well, if you're exhausted about that, let's really get into it, right? We've had Bad Bunny, but now the WWE is looking to bring in Cardi B to host this year's WrestleMania.
Who?
Cardi B.
Sounds like something.
One of the most popular singers out there, Farrah.
One of the most Cardi B. It sounds like a test I used to do when I was running the lab over at North Shore.
There you
Cardi
go.
B. Okay, so what's
I've got
so
a
great
huge
about
issue
Cardi
with this,
B?
bro. I'm gonna go into my Monty old man status here because what?
What? Go on, old man. This old man's listening.
The country right now is busy. And, Matty, chime in here, brother, because we need a younger viewpoint on this. But while the country is busy getting rid of Dr. Seuss books, right, and messing around against the Muppets.
What?
One of the top, and look, if anyone doesn't know what we're doing in this country now, the Dr. Seuss books, we're trying to get rid of.
What the?
And to think that I saw it on Mulberry Street. This is a famous Dr. Seuss book.
Yeah.
If I ran the zoo.
McElligott's pool?
What?
On Beyond Zebra?
Yep.
Scrambled egg super?
Yes.
And the cat squizzer. Okay, now it's personal. You're getting the cats involved?
That's right. Big problem. But as a country, we allow a song by the name of WAP. Jimmy, you know what WAP stands for, buddy?
What's your mouth?
Oh, you do?
That's a derogatory slur towards Italian Americans.
No, my friend. No.
It's not?
WAP stands for wet ass pussy.
Wait a minute.
I'm going to read you some lyrics.
Wait
ready?
a minute. That's a song?
That's a song.
That's
the song. I'm gonna read you some lyrics.
Wait. Do you need a beat?
Yeah, give me a beat. There's some whores in this house. I said, hold up, certified freak, 7 days a week, wet ass pussy, make that pull out the game week. Yeah. Yeah, you fucking with some wet ass pussy. bring a bucket and a mop. Bring a bucket and a mop for this wet ass pussy. Give me everything you got for this wet ass pussy.
Bring a bucket
And a
and
mop.
a mop?
Yes,
Wow, she's wet.
that's a wet ass pussy.
What is going on here? This is the
802 Blue.
Wait,
she's
wait a
she's
minute.
a stripper turned rapper.
huh?
Yeah.
She's a strapper? She's a stripper turned rapper.
Wait a minute. What about saying this? Today's parents dance with their underage kids to WAP and post it online. Yo, young man,
Excuse
tune
me.
in, my friend.
Excuse me, do you see the future of your country? Here we got parents and little children dancing to mops and wet ass pussy.
Yeah, I think it's a bop. I
think
don't like Cardi B, but I think the song's a bop.
It's a what?
You don't have an issue.
Wait a
with-
minute. What is a bop?
You know it's jamming.
It's jamming, like Hendrix jamming.
Yeah.
Boy, oh boy. Really? Really?
So what?
Wow.
You don't have a problem with those lyrics,
Not really.
but we have a problem with green eggs and ham. Can you name some things for green eggs and ham?
I'm not sure.
Would
why
you
we
eat
have
them in a
Cardi B
house?
and ham, but,
Would you eat them in a house? Would you eat them with a mouse? Could you? Don't be a wussy. Could you check out that hot, wet pussy?
Oh my God.
No wonder they get rid of Dr. Seuss. Now, is that Dr. Seuss?
Yeah, if you're reading Dr. Seuss,
This
absolutely.
is horrible.
So
This is ridiculous.
Farrah and I grew up in a government in the early 1980s where heavy metal, which had begun as a somewhat marginal musical genre, right?
Somewhat marginal?
Yes. Began enjoying mainstream
Excuse
success
me.
with popularity as such bands as Iron Maiden, Def
Right.
Leppard, Kiss,
Right.
and Twisted Sister.
Right.
Around the same time, MTV was born, offering this new venue to popular music, the new way to enter American households on a grand scale.
Okay.
With this high energy and visual splash,
Yeah.
metal bands became the mainstay of the channel, bringing the music of these groups considerable attention not only from fans, but from parent groups who
Right.
deemed much of it offensive
Right. Right.
and sought ways to shield their children
Shield.
from it.
Right.
Go ahead.
I lived through this. What do you want me to say about this?
Your thought? So we're okay with wet ass.
No, not when we grew up, but now we're sounding dated. You know? So, but it was hilarious, the nonsense that we went through when we were kids, especially in my house, to be listening to heavy metal, but it's a really bad rap compared to what's going on today because those bands actually wrote some pretty intelligent lyrics, especially the Iron Maidens and the Black Sabbaths of the world. It was just target practice. It was, everything was offensive back then, but it was not nearly as offensive as what we see today, if that's what you're getting at.
So the attack,
is ridiculous.
The attack on heavy metal in the 80s.
Yeah.
So Jimmy and I grew up in New York.
Yeah.
We actually live on Long Island. And there was a famous, everybody out there, you can tune in and look it up. But a lot of this came stemming from a murder that was called, eventually given the tagline, Say You Love Satan.
There was a book that was written based on the events that had happened.
So, Farrah, if you want to tell the fans out there a little bit about what you know about
It's
Say You Love Satan.
It's slightly uncomfortable because it actually hits home somewhat. We're from that general area. This was the Northport area. And at the time, as Mike has already given you the picture, during the early 80s, heavy metal was very prominent. MTV had gotten started. 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19-year-olds, were all hanging out at parks. There was really not much to do in those days. You got to understand, we didn't have telephones and just, I'll watch whatever I want, I'll look at whatever I want, I'll do whatever I want. We didn't have that kind of technology. So most of us in those days, if we were from that heavy metal persuasion, we were, and by no coincidence, a lot of us were troubled kids. There was always something wrong at home. So we would all hang out in the parks and, do the things that kids probably don't do today. I don't know if they do that today, but a lot of us were, getting lit and smoking and drinking and drugging and all that other stuff. But as hard as this may be to believe, most of us were actually decent kids. None of us really turned out badly. However, unfortunately, that in that general neighborhood, there was a kid named Ricky Casso. And Ricky Casso was just that rare exception of somebody who did too many drugs and took it way too far. He took the music way too seriously. I don't think it was really the driving force behind what happened, but he took a friend.
Well, let's be honest about it. The media took this as an
the
opportunity.
media ran with it
to go after heavy metal music,
Well,
right?
let's finish with what Ricky did. Unfortunately, Ricky had a friend who had burned him for drugs, so him and a couple of other guys took him in the woods, and they killed him. And the story of that is a story unto itself. Oh, they were all on acid, and Ricky was trying to get the kid to say you love Satan, and supposedly, and the kid kept saying he loved his mother. Anyway, they killed the poor kid. They buried him there. Ricky bragged about it for a couple of weeks. Eventually, his big mouth got him caught. You know, the whole thing went to trial, except Ricky hung himself in jail before he could ever go to trial. Now he's a martyr to the maniacs who already look up to him. Wow, he was anti-society. He was into Satan. Oh, he was a pure metalhead. All this crap that you had to now bear the brunt of if you wore an Iron Maiden T-shirt to junior high. You know, it was like, oh man, what did this guy just do for all of us? You know, thanks a lot. You know, so I guess in comparison, if this is what's going on today with youth, if they want to sing about wet ass pussy, it's nothing compared to the reality and the grimness that we grew up in. It's actually whatever, man.
Well, I always leave it up to you to make clarity on it.
You know,
make it
because the
clear
more
for
I
everybody.
think about that, you know what? It's a shame because heavy metal is some amazing music, and most of it is very, very intelligent, especially if you know bands like Iron Maiden, like I said, or Black Sabbath.
Right.
Metallica has some brilliant lyrics in their early stuff.
A lot of great comments out there. Dan Crusader, The Undertaker walked out on Bach. Now we have Cardi B. Wrestling is in de-evolution. What About says, each generation, the standards and values of society get lower.
I can understand that. You have to understand. I don't know if people ever think about it, but I do. The greatest generation, as they call them, the World War II generation, the ones who stood up to the Hitlers and the Stalins of the world, as they grew old and they were getting ready to go to the other side, they had to watch the hippies going nuts and screw the war and screw the government and all. That must have been a nightmare to that generation.
So what you're saying is we're just getting old.
I think the song remains the same as what
I mean,
I'm saying,
Matty's
you know?
okay with it. As a young man who is...
He thinks it bops.
No, but he's a treasure to society, right? So it's like, hey, you know what? Maybe we just don't have it right. Anyway, I'd like to thank the band that sings the theme song for Monty and the Pharaoh, our own Jimmy Farrow, along with his partner, Bart Griggs, who I consider one of the great songwriters of this generation.
So if we decide to not write about the hot pussy and like something like dried, shriveled old testicles, that's okay. Can we get away with that one?
I don't know.
Dried old
Not
testicles.
getting away with
We'll call
green
it
eggs.
Dot!
You could call
dried
green,
old testicles.
No,
Dot.
call green eggs. Can you write a song, Green Eggs and Ham?
A song?
Yeah.
He's already written the poem. I could work off the words.
Wisteria Hall sings such great songs as In My Dream, This Life, Not Far Behind, Here Comes the Rain, and you can find their music on Spotify, iTunes, and Reverb Nation. If you didn't know it, you're watching Monty and the Pharaoh, Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast. You can catch Monty and the Pharaoh on the Monty and the Pharaoh YouTube page, Facebook Live Monty and the Pharaoh page, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Anchor, Twitch TV, the Monty and the Pharaoh page, channel 115, every Tuesday from 7 to 7:30, where you can catch these shows at the reduced version.
Reduced?
And for the early
I thought I had
risers
beaten
on
them
channel
to it.
115, 6 a.m. to 6:30 a.m., and on channel 20 in New York, 2 a.m. to 2:30. We'll be right back with the Monty and the Pharaoh show, our go-home show before this crazy weekend. You need a body shop? You need engine repair? Auto Excellence, Collision Specialists, 631-261-6420. That's 631-261-6420. Auto Excellence. Jimmy, I gotta take a dump.
What?
No, I mean I need a dumpster.
Well, for all those needs, you need to call Big V Dumpster Rental, Long Island, New York, 631-900-DUMP. Elm Logistics. For all your logistic needs, call 631 631-299-3595. That's 631-299-3595. Elm Global Logistics. Pride, performance, and partnerships.
All right, welcome back to Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast. Monty DeFaro, only seen here out of Indie Music TV in Ronkonkoma, New York. So, buddy, here we go.
There's some hoes up in this house. There's some hoes up in this house.
What
Hit it,
song
Mike.
is that?
It's whatever that wet thing wasn't.
You're
there
still
some-
on that.
Yeah. It's catchy. I'm in. It bops. Go on.
The WWE got it right Monday, man.
They did.
Bobby Lashley became only the 4th or 5th, depending on how you look
What
at
is
it,
this?
African American to hold the WWE Championship, joining such list of greats as The Rock, which is suspect
I like how you put suspect.
because he's Samoan, and I
don't
think he
even wanna
claims
touch
to be
that.
Samoan.
I don't know what he's. Fine. Then he's
Booker
Samoan.
T,
Yeah.
Mark Henry,
Yeah.
Kofi Kingston,
Not so great.
not so great. Yeah. Thoughts on that, Farrell?
Well, I'm glad that they did what they did. He's been booked well for the past year or so. If you had told me,
By the way, I loved it.
yes,
I'm marked
if you,
out.
If you had told me when he debuted, now, I mean, think about his original debut in this company. We're going back 15 years or so.
Sure.
If you had told me that his first time as world champion would happen 15 years, 16 years in, I would have been like, you're crazy. But it finally came for him. He totally deserves it. I know you're drooling, and I am too at the thought of him possibly getting Lesnar, at some point. But I'm not so sure we're going to get him for WrestleMania. I think that they're going to go with McIntyre with that, but we'll see. A great payoff. I thought that Miz was fantastic. You must have been wanting to choke him the entire show.
Fantastic.
I hate you. I hate you. I
Wait,
hate
so
you.
we
Stop running. Stop running.
We discussed
stop
this.
running.
I thought
And
the
then finally-
WWE was going to pull their crap off and
No.
not to.
No, they had to, and the payoff was there, and everybody on the. What do you know? For once, everybody on the internet is pleased. We pleased everybody. I'm not hearing.
I'm
much you
going
heard
to
some-
disagree with you on
know.
McIntyre.
Right.
McIntyre is not going to be part of this.
What are they doing with him then?
He's going to have to go
No.
against Sheamus. They had a great match Monday
I
night.
know they did, but
I
we
wouldn't
have now
mind
seen it.
watching them for
But we
Mania.
No, it's so.
Dude, listen. This
He
is
beat-
WrestleMania.
Right.
25,000
You can't-
people.
you can't-
Two-night event.
You can't pull the luster off him that fast. He'll never recover. I don't think they're going to do that. I do think that there's a reason why they pushed him this so hard this full year. And yes, he has lost the title, but he's lost it before. And the other time he lost the title, you were like, he's not getting it back. And I said, yes, he is.
Bro,
they're not going to diminish him that
the
much.
world,
where he's reduced.
the
to
world is forever changing, as we
Right.
just discussed with music.
Right.
Yes, maybe the original, the original setup was, hey, McIntyre, we owe him something. Guy's done a good job, but it's changed. I was excited to see Lashley win the title.
Right.
You will take the luster off of Lashley by putting up against McIntyre.
Nobody said that he's not. I don't believe that, and I also don't believe that in anyone's right mind you take a belt off McIntyre and never give him another shot at it. Why on earth did you have him push the way you did this past year? This is not logical thinking, man. Drew McIntyre will not be reduced to rubble just because he's lost his belt.
Why? Because he doesn't have a title. Is he reduced to rubble?
If you don't let him at least get another shot at it. I am not saying to put the belt on him again quickly after Lashley's done this. I am saying he has to get a shot at it.
Bro, you got to bring
If he
Lesnar
loses,
in. You got to
fine.
bring Lesnar
Then you move
in.
him on to another program. But to leave him this way after the whole year has gone by where he's basically been your main event, that is
All right, hold on.
terrible.
I'm going to give you a couple things,
Do not
right?
do that.
All right.
As much as I want to see Lesnar and Lashley now,
Hold on. I'm going to give you the card. And you
McIntyre
tell
just
me,
goes in the
tell me
toilet?
if you like it. Sasha Banks, right?
she's wrestling Bianca.
Okay.
That's good.
Good match.
Yeah.
Probably a main event for one of the nights, I would think.
All right,
Okay.
if you say so, but okay.
Edge reigns,
Yeah, that's good.
right? Really
Yeah.
good. Yeah?
Right.
Okay.
You're doing the sexy factor. I know
No,
what you're gonna.
but I'm talking
McIntyre.
Lesnar, Lashley.
Of course, that's amazing.
Why wouldn't you do it?
I don't know.
You have to do it.
You don't have to. They may not.
Give us McIntyre Miz, Lashley in a three-way?
No, Miz
No
is not
thanks.
involved at all. I think that McIntyre is somehow going to get his way back to getting that title shot at WrestleMania. You know? How do you know they don't turn it into a special three-way and Lesnar comes in at the end of the match or something? Who knows? But McIntyre must be given a chance to get his belt back. That is horrible booking. If you've done what you've done with him for the last year and then just turn him off
I
like
feel
that,
sorry for
that is
McIntyre,
bad.
but guess what? The game's changed, man.
I don't think
Lashley is hot. Great
Right.
point. Great point, though,
Lashley's
from
been
802.
hot.
He said, let's hope Lashley's WWE title run is better than his TNA Impact title run.
I got to be honest. I think that that's where Bobby Lashley proved that he could be a world champion, and Vince was watching that. I think that run was the best thing that Lashley, and if you got to be honest, the run in Bobby Lashley's career, the best run he's ever had was when he was TNA champion, and I mean that because his previous thing was more high profile with Donald Trump. But come on, he was a sideshow in that. Then he was in ECW. You're not going to compare that to the legitimacy I felt when Lashley was a legitimate bad guy when he was champ. He was a bulldozer. He was impossible to beat. Sound familiar? Because that's what we're seeing right freaking now. And I want his reign. By the way, I just want McIntyre to be given respect and get another match, lose, and then you can do what you want
You
with
can't
him.
waste that on Mania, dude. You can't waste it on Mania.
One way or the other, I want Lashley to hold that belt the whole calendar year until Lesnar
Hey,
comes
bro,
for
I'll
it
tell you,
next
I'll tell you,
year.
I'll tell you the honest
Because I believe in scripts like that are allowed to breathe.
Think of
now
what
let
you-
Lashley
All right.
dominate.
All right, now we're talking business.
Now
How about
let him
this?
dominate.
You bring Lesnar in.
Yeah.
He wrestles Lashley. Doesn't
Right.
have to beat Lashley. Doesn't have to beat him.
Okay.
Could lose because the better storyline.
Right.
He's under Paul Heyman. Reigns is under Heyman. And then you have a whole year to build, again, one of the great all-time feuds.
So he loses to him, and we're
Reigns-
going to have another rematch?
No.
Oh, you mean
no,
Lesnar?
he loses to Lashley.
Yeah.
He's still with Heyman. And then
Lesnar's
all of a sudden
not-
they start the bitter.
Lesnar's not going to lose to Lashley.
Of course he will.
No, he won't.
You can't take the belt off of Lashley now. That's crazy.
Lesnar's not going to take consecutive losses. He already lost to McIntyre, put him over last year. He's not going to put
I think Lesnar's all about business. Whatever you tell him to do.
Could be,
But you
But in the
could
past,
build
he's
one
not-
of the
he's-
great
he's worked with who
storylines
he
for
wants to work
California,
with.
bro.
you know? No, I think so. I agree. I would love to see those two
All right,
go
well,
at
you know
it.
what? We disagree on it, but you know what? We'll find out what the truth is, what we think, right?
Right.
Either which way, we win, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so-
I just don't think the days of seeing Drew McIntyre in the World Heavyweight title picture or the days of seeing with the strap on him are done. And I think I'm going to be proven right about that. It's not done. You'll see him as champ again. You know? I believe that.
Big Show announced on AEW yesterday that another Hall of Fame worthy addition to AEW on Saturday will be announced. Who do you think it's going to be?
Wow. Mil Mascaris. Amazing.
Oh, come on, stop it.
What?
Stop being silly.
You think it's going to be CM Punk?
You tell me.
I don't think so. You think it's going to be Batista? That's possible. That's possible.
Real
Not
quick,
gonna
I know
be
we're on the
Lesnar.
subject, but Mike Gonzalez asked there, and it's a pretty interesting question. We need the Pharaoh to chime in.
Uh-oh.
Should Nyla Rose be wrestling women? That's pretty controversial.
Should Nyla Rose be wrestling women? Wow. Not really. She's
It's stupid.
yeah.
She gets her ass kicked by 80-pound women.
Yeah, it's
But she's really, well, okay. She was born a man.
right.
And a heavy man, by the way.
Right. Okay.
Like, overweight man.
Okay.
And she can't beat up women. It's stupid. Sorry.
I'm just not interested.
It's
you know?
stupid.
I mean, and if I'm running the promotion, you're not.
I was
I'm
born
not
a
even bothering,
250-pound man, but I really
Hey,
identify as a woman, which
Right.
fine.
that's wonderful.
But now you can't.
Right.
But you
What
can't.
what
But you
from me?
can't.
Anything I say, I'm going to be wrong.
But you can't.
Some people's
But you can't
eyes,
beat up women.
Right.
Makes no sense to me.
Right.
All right,
you
who's
know.
the Big Show bringing in? Mike Gonzalez, don't ask us crazy questions like that, bro,
What?
because it's like
That was
we're just going to
good.
get ourselves in trouble
Yeah,
on this
yeah,
show.
Well, you know. Yeah.
We're certainly not politically correct.
No, not at all. I don't know who he's going to bring in. I don't know.
All right, so I'm going to.
Batista? I don't know.
Do you think maybe it's going to be a gimmick and it's going to be the announcement is he is joining AEW?
He already did.
I know, but hey, it's me.
What about I heard it was going to possibly be Mark Henry? Any thoughts on Mark Henry? Yeah.
Eh.
Right. Who cares?
Dude, if you're going to make this sort of announcement, you're making it on a pay-per-view.
Right.
You're making it a big deal. It can't be Mark Henry, with all due
Right.
respect.
Right.
Right?
Right.
To Dave LaGreca. I'm hearing a rumor, and you heard it here from Monty Nefaro,
Yeah. Oh, great.
that it's going to be AJ Lee.
Wow.
That's what I'm hearing.
That would be interesting.
And, if I ruined it for you AEW fans, I
but is
apologize.
that show stopping? Like, oh my God, it's AJ Lee, and
You
she's
just
here
said whoa. You just said wow.
Well, only because of who that means could be coming next. If she's there, that's the only reason I went whoa. I'm going whoa, and I'm thinking about Punk.
But what about says, born and still a man, the dude's issue is called body dysmorphia.
Buddy.
Hey, Maddie,
Dysmorphia.
what do you think about a man, born a man,
no.
becomes a woman, and wrestles as a woman? Is that fair?
That's rough. It depends. I mean, how old was he or her when she transitioned?
I don't know. But I'll tell you what, we'll do it by pounds. I think she was 200-something
I thought
pounds.
it was a he who became a she.
But she's a she now.
Okay. Okay.
See, that's like gray waters. I'm not too sure how you could answer that without there being wrong in that aspect, right?
Look at Maddie being politically
Yeah,
correct.
that's
He doesn't even know what to do with that one.
Listen, I have no interest myself personally. I don't think if you're born a male in all sports, you should not be allowed to compete in women's athletics. I'm sorry, it's stupid, it's dumb, it's annoying. I just broke the world's women's weightlifting. Congratulations!
Way to go, Sid.
Way to go! Way to go, balls, Mahoney.
Yeah, you're right.
All right, so you heard it here.
All this Mahoney. What are you talking about?
You heard it here. AJ Lee, AEW. That's who I'm going with. Who you going with? You're going with Mark Henry?
I'm going with Wagaf.
Who's
Who
Wagaf?
gives a fuck? That's what I'm going with.
Wow.
I don't care. I don't know who they're gonna have.
This is something that's
Who are they
important.
gonna have?
This
I
is
don't
something that's
know.
important to you.
Alberto
Sean-
Del Rio, he's back. I'm here to get in trouble again. Hey! I don't know.
Charlotte Flair getting bullied on social media. Everybody
What?
hates her
Why? What's with the hatred for Charlotte? What
because
happened?
she's always getting the push and
So she's
you know,
the new
and-
Roman
and she-
Reigns?
and she's
Is
feeling
that
the
what
pain.
Is that what you're saying?
Yes,
They picked
yeah.
on Roman Reigns for years.
So what do you think about that?
I think that's ridiculous. Charlotte Flair is the greatest women's wrestler in the business. That's ridiculous.
Cyberbullying.
I'm sorry. I don't see it. Charlotte Flair's amazing. What is the problem with Charlotte
All
Flair?
right. Well, can I weigh in
no
on this?
problem
Can I
with
weigh in on
Charlotte
this?
Flair.
I'm a huge Charlotte Flair.
So am I.
But do you know how beautiful she was when she was younger? That girl's
Oh, you
done-
mean before?
Yeah,
the doctor
exactly.
got a hold of the-
So all this
the fork and the
bullying,
knife
there's
and
all
the-
this bullying
Is
has
that what
made
they're?
her.
Wait a minute. Is that what they're bullying?
No.
Her looks?
But I
No.
think the problem is after you get bullied like that, you're trying to make all these changes to yourself, and it's like all of a sudden you look like plastic woman.
I don't think that it was because she was being bullied. I need a new nose. I need a new breast.
Yes,
I need
yes,
a new buttock.
yes,
Oh,
yes.
yeah. What do you mean? I'm fat. I need more liposuction. What? I don't know. I don't know why anybody would be picking.
And
on
now they're
her.
all bent out of shape that Charlotte is now wrestling Asuka, right?
Why
At
shouldn't she?
WrestleMania.
I figured she would.
No!
Who's supposed
Give
to-
the younger guy people chances.
Who's supposed to wrestle Oscar at WrestleMania? You got a sexy name for me?
Sure.
Who?
Miss NXT is coming up.
Rhea Ripley.
Yeah. Oh, look at now you're buying it.
That would be interesting.
You're one of those on the keyboard. Hey, Charlotte, Rhea Ripley.
But Ray is not even here yet. You got to slow down. Can we write the storyline first?
Oh, so now you're saying bring her in and ruin this whole main event?
No, I'm saying don't. Like, you know, I'm saying what I was saying to you about Lesnar. That's it, parachute Lesnar.
Just let her
in.
beat
Just drop
Asuka.
it in.
Let her beat Asuka, and
Yeah.
then Charlotte could wrestle Rhea and lose the belt. Like,
Yeah, like it's
the same
SummerSlam or
shit that
something
happens
like
all
that,
the time.
something
Right,
like that. Yeah.
All right, we'll be right back after this commercial break, and with one of our favorite segments, Head to Head,
Uh-oh.
this week.
What?
Speaking of Charlotte Flair,
What? What did you do?
all right, will be
Oh, no.
Charlotte against the Fabulous Moolah, but we'll be
Wow.
right back.
Wow. Woo.
That's right, folks. Canine Corral for all your dog daycare and overnight care. Call 631-549-1544. That's 631-549-1544. And APB, American Protection Bureau, voted #1 best on Long Island for all your security needs. Call 631-390-9050. That's 631-390-9050. APB. The Monty and the Pharaoh Show is brought to you by...
Because wine is your second favorite four-letter word. California wine, New York attitude. Good fucking wine.
Yeah.
All right, welcome back to Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast, Monty and the Pharaoh, seen every Thursday here and produced out of Indie Music TV in Ronkonkoma, New York. Real quick, Pharaoh, let me just pop the screen up. I'm sorry for the delay, Pharaoh. Don't yell at me.
He said pop.
Ultra Fantastico Worldwide. He asked us, are we going to the Cauliflower Club reunion in Las Vegas? I did respond, but we were invited this year.
Okay.
And look, guys, I'm being 100% honest here. We're not like a lot of other people who don't bullshit, say we were invited somewhere, we're going somewhere. We were invited this year. I don't think I'm going because I don't know how COVID's going to be. I love Nevada. I know I would love nothing but to go there.
Sounds nice.
Just the mere facts that I'd like to punch some of these people, not the wrestlers, but some of these guys that do go to the Cauliflower Club. I'd like to punch them right in the face.
Yeah.
I got one guy I'm just thinking about right now.
Yeah.
If he shows up there.
Yeah, me too.
But yeah, if COVID settles down, we may go. I'll be honest with you, I'd like to go. I mean, who's that run by Killer B, right? B. Brian Blair.
Oh, he's awesome.
He's all right.
Been on the show.
Before we get to head-to-head, a source told WrestlingNews.com that Vince McMahon was upset that WrestleMania plans for Edge vs. Roman Reigns and Miz's tag team match against Bad Bunny was leaked. As a result, both that site and Ringside News heard that the new edict that the creative teams have to check with McMahon or Bruce Pritchard before telling talent what's planned for them. Thoughts?
I don't know how stuff gets leaked out half the time anyway, and how Vince doesn't clamp it down right away. I'm amazed that anything could get out of his creative rooms.
Well, it's probably a fact that, you know what, you're friends with somebody, they're in the organization,
blah, blah, blah.
they call their high school buddy, oh yeah.
But I just don't know how the hell Vince has not made that crystal clear to everybody who's in creative. Shut up! Don't tell your wife!
Wasn't that the
Don't tell your sister!
Isn't that the best?
Don't even tell yourself when you're by yourself in the bathroom looking in the mirror! Am I clear? Because it's amazing that this stuff gets out. How does Dave Meltzer allegedly find out half the shit he finds out? Someone in WWF has got a big mouth. Jackie Gleason.
Very good.
And that's it. That's my take.
That's your take.
Wow.
Wow.
I'm tired now. Go on.
That's what ruins WrestleMania. That's what ruins SummerSlam, right? Because you always get Royal Rumble.
Dude, I miss the days where we would just get the wrestling magazines, and even then we were grateful to get any news, and even then the magazines were like a month behind.
Yeah, so you didn't hear anything new.
Yeah.
But you thought you did.
But it was exciting not knowing what was coming, instead of, I read it, and you know what's going to happen? He's going to hit him with a coconut.
Could you imagine?
Could you imagine?
Oh, my God.
Could you imagine if
That'd
the
be terrible.
Snooker Piper moment was ruined? I mean... people.
All right, this week's
People talk too
head-to-head
much.
is the incredible Charlotte Flair versus the fabulous Moolah.
Oy. Wow.
As always, Jimmy will explain to fans that have not seen this segment what's behind and how the decision is made. Jimmy, go ahead and hit him with the rules,
All
brother.
right, folks. We break this down into 5 categories. It's usually an old school wrestler versus a new school wrestler, as it is in this case. Category number 1 is mic skills. Basically, are you a Rock, are you a Stone Cold Steve Austin, or are you just, are you good at it, or do you absolutely stink when you are handed a chance to say something to the audience? Number 2 is mat skills. That should be pretty obvious. The Kurt Angles, the Bob Backlunds of the world. I always say Bret Hart, as I should. The Kenny Omegas. Oh, God, I knew that would get somebody sick. Jim Cornette is throwing shit at the screen right now.
That's
I don't
right.
blame him.
I think I'm throwing a shit at the
I don't
screen
blame
right
him. Yeah, but he's a great mat wrestler. Say what you will. So mat skills is the second category. Number 3 is the overall influence on the industry. Talking about, obviously, are you a pioneer? Did you do something that, the industry has felt the effects of, over time? This may be tougher on some of the new school guys, but you know there are plenty of newer school guys who've done tons of stuff, like Jericho giving Bruno a run for his money last week.
Absolutely, that was a close one.
Yeah, it was a close one. Okay, so overall influence on the industry is number 3. Number 4 category on head-to-head is the back of the baseball card, my personal favorite. That's the championship you have accumulated in your career, and all your Money in the Banks or Royal Rumbles or whatever the heck it is, you know, that you've gotten done inside that ring. Number 5, the it factor. That should also be pretty self-explanatory. Like the first time you took a look at Hulk Hogan, you kind of knew you were looking at somebody who has it.
Absolutely.
So there you go. Those are the 5 categories.
So, Jimmy, let's introduce the first contestant, the fabulous Moolah.
This is rough, so I'm not going to sit here and try to read all of this because there's just so much about this unbelievable legend when it comes to women's wrestling. Born Mary Lillian Ellison way back in 1923. She passed on in 2007. She lived a long, long life. Better known as, of course, the Fabulous Moolah. Now, let's just go to the basics about Fabulous Moolah because, again, there's just too much to talk about here. I will leave it at this. Here's your basic key points. She wins the World Championship in 1956 for women and holds it for 28 years. Even Matty Ice is going, wow. I could see him over there. 28 years. Matt, are you even 28 years old?
I am way below.
Yeah! She holds the title from 1956 to 1984. Absolutely ridiculous, okay?
802 Blue says there's a picture of Moolah up right now. He's like, she's hot.
I love this guy. I love it. That's hilarious.
Think Moolah had wet-ass pussy?
Oh, come on, man. I'm trying to read a respectful...
All right, I'm sorry.
You know.
Sorry.
She probably bossed around a lot.
Wait a minute.
Wet-ass pussy, but that's a whole...
We're going to make a song called DAP, Dry-Ass Pussy.
And that makes me dapper. Probably after the dap.
All right, go ahead. I didn't mean to
Oh, my
interrupt.
God.
I
That's
apologize.
horrible, man. Oh, that's just horrible. Okay, so we've gotten to the main point was the fact that she held the belt for 28 years. But then, of course, towards the end of her, not just her career, but her life, she was still immensely contributing to Vince McMahon. She had the awesome program with Cyndi Lauper, as you know, with Wendy Richter. And that was really towards the end of her career. But she's not done then. During the Attitude Era, she teams up with Mae Young. I mean, they gave us some great hilarity. I mean, my God, look, if you're going to be funny, that was some great stuff.
Well,
so Fabulous Moolah
can I go back?
is everything.
You
for
mentioned
like the first 40 years of Vince's company. It's just like, wow.
You mentioned Cyndi Lauper, Wendy Richter.
Sure.
My feeling, again, you know, no matter how you feel about women's wrestling,
Yeah.
I want to make a few things clear.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for Cyndi Lauper, Wendy Richter, of course Piper, Hogan.
The combination, if it wasn't for the combination of Hogan, Piper, Mr. T, Cyndi Lauper, Wendy Richter,
I was there.
Moolah's role.
That first match
Right.
changed the face of wrestling as we know it. Now, for the older fan of the wrestling experts, I put in quotes that I can't stand, probably are angry over that fact. But the fact of the matter is that it brought wrestling. If it wasn't for that, you don't have the Attitude Era. You don't have any of this. Wrestling it stays what it was back in the late 70s, early 80s.
The great leap to wrestling being a household thing where it would get football ratings was the fact that Vince connected pro wrestling to rock, and that's Cyndi.
That's right.
That's MTV.
But
that
doesn't go any further unless Cyndi could hook her train to Richter.
Right.
And we needed the enemy of Richter. And who
Without
did they go
the
to?
Joker,
Moolah.
The Joker was Moolah,
Thank you.
as Hogan's Joker was Piper.
Absolutely.
You know, so it was just absolute. Her contributions to women's wrestling are actually immeasurable. It would be fair to say she's the Sal Martino of female women as far as the history of the sport for women in wrestling.
But it's also
She's
it's
a
also
fabulous Moolah.
It's also fair to talk about the dark side of Moolah,
Which came out later, of course.
Who took advantage
Of course.
of a lot of wrestlers. Some say she didn't. Some say she was allowing them an
again,
opportunity and took a piece of that opportunity.
Again, where there's smoke, there's fire. Somewhere in the middle is probably the truth, and I think that there's probably plenty of things, unfortunately, about Moolah that are not so great.
Well, Farrell, as usual,
Yeah.
you did a great job with her. Now let's
It's
talk
difficult.
about Charlotte Flair.
It's very difficult. Okay, let's move on to who I feel is the greatest women's wrestler in the world today. Ashley Elizabeth Flair, born back in 1986. What a year we were having in 1986.
Absolutely.
Of course, the great professional wrestler that has been working for Vince for several years now at this point. She, what does this say here? Okay, she started training with them going back in 2012. So we're talking almost 10 years now working with the WWE.
By the way, I don't want to interrupt on Charlotte, but
Yeah.
there was a good point made. Russell Campbell says, and he's right,
Go ahead.
Wendy Richter
Yeah.
and Moolah
Yeah.
were involved in the first original screw job. Talk about
Yes.
changing
Yes.
westling history there
Yeah,
too,
Spider
right?
Lady.
Absolutely.
Spider Lady. Great job, Ross. Oh, man. Oh, yeah. What has Moolah not done?
What about says Moolah kept her pimp hand strong? All right, back to Charlotte.
There's
Go
some
ahead.
hoes up in this house.
Oh, my
There's some
God.
Oh, this is terrible. That song is awful. Why is it stuck
Not
in my
according to
head,
Matty Ice, dude.
You
could bop to
it's
it.
bopping.
It's
Look, I'm
bopping.
going to take his word for it. He's our producer. He's our guy. If he says so, I'm going to have to go.
I love music, but
know,
I
I'm
ain't
not gonna
listening-
run out and buy it,
I ain't
but,
listening
you
to
know.
that, bro.
No, I'm not listening to that either. Okay, getting back to Charlotte. We are talking multiple times women's championship. Oh, my God. We're talking like 9 times already? She's won the Raw's title 4 times. She's won the SmackDown title 5 times. NXT women's title. Wow. She's overall a 12-time women's champion already in her career, over almost a decade now since she's come up. Winning, she's also won the women's tag team championship. What hasn't she won? You know, Charlotte Flair is obviously magical on the mic. I feel that she's been the face for women's wrestling for many years already at this point. She has been like a tornado from the moment she came in. She has been great. And you know what? All those people are yelling and screaming about her booking. You guys couldn't be more wrong because she's not tarnished. When you write someone correctly for years, they are not tarnished. And they stay respectable. That's why Macho Man, that's why, you know, the greats are not
People may get
taken
upset
off
about
course
this.
like
I've
this.
said it to you a couple of times on
She
occasion.
deserves to have this resume.
I've said this to you a couple of times on occasion.
Yeah.
I know this will flip out wrestling fans,
What?
but I almost think that she is better than her father. Technically,
I'm not going there.
I'm not going to say she's better with mic skills than
I
her
think
father.
that she's
but
a chip
technically,
off the old block, and that's the respect I give her, and that's a huge tip of the cap to her.
It is.
But I will not compare her to her father.
All right, so let's hit it.
that I
Mic
won't
skills. Who's got it? Moolah or preach, Jimmy? Says Russell Campbell.
There you go. There we go. Preach on. My skills.
Moolah
That's
or Charlotte?
Charlotte.
Not even close.
Not even close.
But you know what? Well, I think 802. I thought I saw a comment from him. Mm-hmm. He said he could listen to Moolah all day.
It wasn't like Moolah was terrible at talking, but she's not Charlotte. Period. Charlotte Flair has her father's gift of gab.
I'm going with you on mic skills there.
Yeah.
Charlotte. Matt skills. Moolah or Charlotte?
Charlotte. Not even close.
So this is a blowout already.
But we've had this happen before.
I know.
Be careful.
Overall influence on the industry.
Moolah. Moolah.
Why?
Dude, all the decades paving the way. We don't even have a
Isn't that
WrestleMania,
unfair?
much less women main eventing eventually.
Right.
Without fabulous Moolah. That's it. The impact on the business. Do you realize how many generations came after her that have wanted to be like
And
her?
we just said it.
Yeah.
If not for her card with Richter,
Yeah.
this may never even, what we know today may never even be the case.
My favorite part about this contest is we've kept it responsible. Let's stay responsible here.
Absolutely.
And it's not even close. The impact on the business is Moolah's. Go on.
What about says that Charlotte's got a better moveset than her father, but Rick was one of the best characters? It's a great
Agreed.
point.
Agreed. But don't forget, Rick in his day was considered a machine.
Shit,
Rick was
maybe
the
we should have did
60-minute
Charlotte versus. Maybe should have did Charlotte versus Rick.
But Rick was the 60-minute machine. Understand that.
Yeah.
Rick
but
Flair
I think
was a
Charlotte
machine.
could go 60 minutes. With
I think
no problem.
she could, but I don't think as many times a year as her father did.
You know, it's funny when I watch Charlotte.
I don't think anybody could do the schedule that her father did. You know, one year he didn't even take one day off. Are you aware of that?
When
During the 80s, he didn't take one day off.
When I watch Charlotte wrestle, you can see the command that she has in the
amazing.
ring.
She's a general.
She's almost flawless.
She's like her father. There's
and
nothing
today,
wrong with
where the
saying
camera
that.
angles are much tighter,
Yeah.
it's pretty impressive.
She's amazing.
Back of the baseball card. So right now it's 2-1. Back of the baseball card.
Moolah. You don't hold the title for 28 years. I'm going back to the San Martino analogy. Sorry. She held the title for 28 years. I know it's a different era, and blah, 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 but come on. Charlotte's reigns are impressive, and she's had a lot, but sometimes the belt gets passed around like hot potatoes today. You can't compare it to a 28-year reign. Our producer's not even that old.
By the way, Mike Gonzalez says that David Flair is better than Charlotte.
Oh, my God, I love it. David Flair. You know, he really was underappreciated. He should have...
Shut up. Stop.
You know,
Stop
I remember
it.
his program with Crowbar.
All right.
It was the greatest.
We're at 2-2.
Crowbar.
We're at 2-2.
Yeah.
It factor.
It factor. Well, folks, this is where... Sorry. The winner of this contest... Should I announce it? I maybe
Announce
like
it
to
right
announce
now. It's fine.
The winner of this contest is Charlotte Flair.
I agree.
Yeah.
I hope the fans agree.
Because when you look at Charlotte on camera, she's it factor. She's absolutely it factor. Moolah had it factor in her day too, but I don't think to the degree that Charlotte has. And I do think that by the time Charlotte is finished, when she's all finished and it's all said and done with her career, I do believe she will supplant the great, fabulous Moolah as the greatest women's wrestler of all time if she hasn't already.
Well, with that, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and then we're going to come back and tell the fans out there what we've got upcoming tomorrow and Saturday.
David Flair, woo.
And Nitro's Garage for all your automotive needs. Call 646-675-2349. That's 646-675-2349. For all your automotive needs, Nitro's Garage. Ask for Jack. Jeff Quest, graphics design, custom vinyl lettering, and all your art and video needs. 516-317-8204. That's for Jeff Quest, graphic design.
Jimmy, I just got the best hookup on tickets.
Fill me in.
I went to www.seatslinks.com and ordered the best tickets with the best prices.
Call 718-676-0504. SeatsLink, the complete ticket experience.
Tell them Charles sent you. All right, welcome back to Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast. Monty DeFaro, seen every Thursday from 9 till 10 o'clock, or 9:05 to 10 o'clock, every Thursday. But on occasion, we have special Friday, Saturday, Sundays, and whatever day shows. So I want to make a couple announcements in case anyone didn't know it. Tomorrow at 6:30, via vMix or Skype or Zoom, it's the same thing.
Via satellite.
We've got the Metal Maniac in at 6:30 p.m. Also in studio will be 2 special guests. I will not be revealing who those special guests are, but
quiet,
make sure that you tune in. It won't be like AEW with some kind of nonsense. I promise you will be very happy with who these 2 special guests are going to be. And then that same day on March 5th at 8 p.m., we are bringing in Stars and Stripes, the Patriot, along with, now make this clear, Marcus Alexander Bagwell. No, not Buff Bagwell.
He's the stuff.
Marcus Alexander Bagwell.
I still want to know, though, is he going to shave his mustache? Is he coming in as Marcus Alexander
so we've had this dilemma before.
Because if he's got the mustache, he's coming in as Buff.
But we've had this dilemma before.
Poor Buff.
When Virgil was in here, I wanted to call him Vincent. You continued to call him Virgil.
Why would you call him Vincent?
But my question is, when he's in here with Stars and Stripes, will you be calling him Buff or will you be calling him Marcus?
I guess I'm gonna have to call him Buff.
That's fucked up, dude.
What's up, Buff? Yeah, stuff. I'm psyched. I like Buff. He's been on before, but not as Marcus Alexander.
Mike Gonzalez, who's he? You don't know who Marcus Alexander Bagwell? Come on, it's Buff Bagwell. Stop it.
Bagwell.
You're being silly now. You're being silly.
With the big booty daddy back in the day with the NWO.
But here's the real. Not that those aren't real, but on March 6th is Saturday at 5 p.m. We have a 90-minute interview. For me and Jimmy, this is a super huge deal, and I hope for the fans out there, it's a super huge deal.
We're going home after this.
Former two-time WWE champion, and also many other title holds, Mr. Bob Backlund will be in studio. Now, Bob doesn't really do a lot of interviews. This will be 90 minutes of pure bliss for wrestling fans.
Wow. I'm pretty much speechless. I'll believe it when he walks in. He's here. He's here. I'll come like running down the hallway. He's here. Bob Backlund's here. It's amazing.
I want everybody out there, you tune in, get your super chats in, get your questions in. This is going to be the interview of interviews.
Wow.
We grew up on Bob Backlund.
The man who basically took the torch from Bruno Sammartino and was champion throughout our entire high school time. Yeah, it's a big deal.
The guys that he took down.
Walking out. There you go. Here it is, folks.
The guys he took down during that tenure.
Oh, God.
Greg Valentine.
Morocco.
The magnificent Morocco.
Yeah.
Mass superstar.
John Studd.
Jesse
Ventura.
Just Adrian Adonis.
What?
Playboy Buddy Rose.
Yep, Playboy Buddy Rose, Killer Khan. He did one after another. One after another. For month after month. Selling out the Garden. I always saw good attendance. I know that we always talk about it, but it was packed anytime we saw Bob Backlund. Anytime we saw Bob Backlund.
I frequent the Garden every month.
You know?
And I got to tell you, the Garden was sold out.
Dude,
it was always White Hart. If you talk to the wrestlers, you could go to our previous interviews with other wrestlers who did talk about Backlund. They said he was protected. They would bring in a big name to keep his cards. I totally disagree.
I got to be honest. I'm actually somewhat offended as I look back on it years later. Bob Backlund was a draw. Bob Backlund was loved by the fans.
Was he Hulk Hogan? No.
Who could be?
No.
And who could be Bruno? He happened to be that unfortunate, in the middle of two gigantic legends. But does that make him any less great? You know, there was a Yankee captain who played first base for 14 years who didn't get a ring. His name was Mattingly. He was great. Doesn't mean he wasn't great.
I'm going to say this. This is a must. It's a must.
Timing is everything sometimes.
This is a must-watch interview.
I'm really psyched about it.
Eric asked, be sure to ask the Patriot about his weekly podcast, Unmasking the Truth. First of all, the Patriot will be wearing a mask. These are two major things that will happen in that interview.
Nice.
He will wear a mask. And, Matty, you'll appreciate this.
Is he going to eat a sandwich?
He must eat a sandwich with his mask on. That is a priority of the Monty and the Pharaoh show. I've been waiting for this for a very long time. And it's not just a sandwich, it's a hoagie.
He's looking at you like you... Okay, a bunch of years ago, we were having an event, and we had a masked luchador on. And during the break, Mike turns, I see this horrific look. He's like all ice in his face. He's like looking like, what am I looking at? And the masked guy was eating a sloppy hero with his mask on.
With his mask on.
And he was like, now I've seen everything. So now just because the Patriot wears a mask, are you going to give him a meatball parmesan with the cheese?
No, just a Subway hero.
Oh, so it can't get all over him?
No, I don't want to get him messy because we're going to dinner afterwards.
That's
So,
okay. Oy.
I will ask about Unmasking the Truth. We certainly know that Del Wilkes, the Patriot, has a very large political agenda.
Okay.
We love to talk politics, religion, and anything
Matty
else
Ice loves
here.
politics. Yes.
There's nothing better than that.
Cool.
Eric says a hoagie with a mask sounds messy. Yes, it does, and it sounds wonderful.
Get a big one with the Parmesan cheese, like.
I want an in-close focus, Matt, when he is eating that hoagie. I want you to tune in.
The things he should prep for.
In the center of the screen.
Oh my God, incredible! And if he had like a little mayonnaise on his mask, how awesome would that be?
And whatever you could do with the special effects, you know how the TV dinner box always looks better than the crap that's inside it? Make it look as tasty as possible with whatever effects you can use.
All right, I'll throw in some special.
All right, so to reiterate, tomorrow starts at 6:30. Metal Maniac via Skype, Zoom, whatever you want to call it. We use something called vMix. Metal Maniac's known for being in the early ECW days.
Sure.
And his relationship with Mr. Jimmy Superfly Snuka. Metal's been asking to come on a show quite often, so finally we got a window to bring him on, and here we are.
Cool
Then
deal.
at 8 p.m. again, it is Marcus Alexander Bagwell, along with the Patriot. They are
hoagie-
known as Stars and Stripes.
Hoagie-eating Patriot.
And then on March 6th at 5 p.m., we've got former two-time WWE champion, again, Mr. Bob Backlund. And guys, check our schedule, because there's names upon names upon names after this. But I want you guys to buckle up your seatbelts, get ready for Friday, get ready for Saturday. Tell the wife, tell the children, tell the girlfriend, tell the boyfriend, tell your gay partner. You will not be available because you will be watching Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast, Monty and the Pharaoh. Jimmy, send us out.
Here's to hoping that my liquor cabinet's locked up for the next couple of days. This is the Pharaoh, and until tomorrow, later.